Oh, Maddie's here. Cyber's here. Ava's here. Daniel's here. Who else made it out for the Tuesday morning medley? It's 172, guys. It's 172. Just gonna keep plugging away at this endless task. Hope everybody had a good Monday. Mine was particularly hectic and busy and exhausting, but I got through it. And that's what's maybe most important. Hello, Tofu Ren. I hope you're having a good morning. My smoothie's a little bit watery today, so I'm trying to drink it as fast as I can before it turns into a nightmare. So I apologize for any interruptions in the morning medley. And I also would like to apologize for being about 5 minutes late. I forgot the apple juice in my car. I had to walk down and grab it. Okay. Ooh, Cat's Tube is out. That's good news. Oh. Is that bad news? Who's supposed to take it out? Ava? Jesse says I need larger metal straws. I recommend it, Jesse. Reusable stainless steel straws do the environment a favor. And if you don't care about the environment, they do this really cool thing where they get really frosty when you drink something cold, and I'm a fan of that. So I recommend buying some stainless steel straws. I'm doing okay, Thadley. Thank you for asking. I hope you're also doing all right. Yesterday's stream was kind of sleepy, both in my demeanor and in the chat. I feel a little bit better about this stream. I feel like the stream's going to be maybe a little bit more interesting, a little bit more intriguing conversation-wise. Good morning, Jordan. Hope you're having a good one. Yes, it did go through, Cyber. Thank you. I'm a sucker for theme. I like this. I'll play whatever 172 sounds like later. Thank you for reminding me, Cyber. Spring Street. It's named after a street in downtown Los Angeles. I don't think that street actually exists outside of downtown Los Angeles. I could be wrong, but yeah, I don't think it leaves downtown. I think it dead ends right before it gets to Chinatown on one end, and on the other end, I think it also is a dead end. It's exclusively this like small street that only exists in downtown Los Angeles. Anyways, I hope everybody had a good Monday. I spent mine kind of running around, and I'm going to spend a little bit of it today running around as well. There is a thing that I need to do for the stream, for the production streams, that I haven't done yet. But that's going to require me to run around a little bit today. I also have some music stuff. I bought a new USB mic, says Cyber. Ooh. Off of Amazon. Off of Amazon, no less. Have you got a chance to use it yet? Has it even arrived yet? That's exciting in its own way. Maddie, back to work as usual. That's kind of cool. Remind me where you are again, work-wise? This song is called Baby Be Less. Yeah, all the time, Lindsay. Oh, yeah. My hair was up yesterday. Oh, yeah, I haven't worn my hair down that much lately. So, yeah, it probably does look a little bit longer. Also, my hair tends to look longer when I don't have facial hair. I think it's just because, like, maybe the eyes are drawn upward because there's no hair below my nose. Um, thanks for noticing, I suppose. I cut it a little bit in the back. It was touching my neck and it was making me uncomfortable. Good morning, Leona. Leona's back. that's that made me laugh. Thank you, Gabriel. It's funny. It's my usual look actually. This is my default. It's just been a really bad year. Thank you, Gabriel. Also, thank you, Lindsay, for noticing. Ooh, I like this take, Ava. Every day I have at least one sad, but then I see how many clean sheep make one happy. You're in a very small club of people that like me clean shaven, though. I appreciate you. Thank you. Are you comparing me to an Animal Crossing villager, Cyber? Yeah, Dar. Usually my facial hair is it's like a sign of discomfort or me being unhappy. chair? What is that, Dart? What is that? Hello, Sefka. Oh, non-shrinkage. I should say I washed my hair this morning. This is like fresh out of the wash, so it might not be consistent with whatever my hair is normally supposed to look like. How's your glasses break? I'm in a good mood today, Sevka. So far. Thank you for asking. How's your mood today? Where do these hiccups come from? I've never tried a hair mask, says Jesse. Never again. Got so frizzy, and I had to use buttloads of conditioner. That is one thing that I miss about having like the short hairy stuff, where it was just like a Caesar haircut with a fade. Is like I definitely didn't. I mean, this still is the case with anybody with long hair. You just don't. It doesn't cost as much. It's a lot cheaper to have short hair than it is to have long hair. I mean, if you're trying to take care of it anyway. That was a medley. There were several songs stuffed in there. I think Double Lutz was in there. I think Jumpin' Jaybird was in there. I think Key Lime, as well as Catching Up, was stuffed in there. So I hope you enjoyed that little segment. Wow, I used to do that too, Ava. Except it wasn't pencils. I would often hide like paper clips in my hair. That was like a thing for a really long time. There was something else, but it wasn't pencils. I'm trying to think of what it was though. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Yeah, sticking things in your hair is like storing stuff in your hair. It's definitely a thing. When you're playing the stream, says Jesse, do you think I want to transition into this, or does it just flow? Both. Both. I think if I'm doing a medley, it usually just flows, but sometimes there are specific songs that I would like to get to. going to be a shorter stream. I'm not going to make it the full 2 hours. So I apologize in advance for that. I do. I just do have some stuff that I need to get to before it gets too late on in the day. I agreed to do so many commissions this month. Why did I do that? Guys, why did I do that? Why do I stretch myself so thin? What is this? It's like it's a contest or something. Ba, 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 ba. I made like a weird chart diagram of like all the hairstyles that I've had since leaving Arizona. I had like a little baby fro for a while, and then like a loose naps thing that was going on. That's my outlook for it, says Gabriel, saying that it's important to take up hard work, and that it works up discipline, and you look back at it with pride. 8 commissions, Jesse. That's my outlook on it, says Gabriel, and I think the things that you do when you have to press forward end up being great. I think that outlook, even for normal stuff, is good. I think it's, there's a little bit, I almost said ambiance, there's a little bit of nuance to that. I mean, for sure, yeah, it's good to challenge yourself, but there's a limit to everything. And I know my own, and I stretch myself too thin. There's kind of there's definitely I've been working on a lot of things. And then you look back on it like, wow, I accomplished that. And then there's sometimes when you're like, oh, I've overextended myself, and you look back at it and you think, wow, I really wish I would have paced myself more, because all of these works could have been much better had I given them the amount of focus and delineation and consideration that maybe each one of them deserved, instead of chalking my schedule full, you know? But yes, both things are very real and true. asked to commission me same day yesterday to make him a logo. I was like, no, it's my last day of vacation. You can't just spring that on me. I wish I had your discipline, Liana. I had a rather wild same day commission. Oh, sprung on me recently, and over the weekend I had oh my god, I had I don't really want to get into the details of it, but I had to make something over the weekend, and I was like, it's a holiday. I mean, even though I'm not like the biggest patriot, can I just like have this holiday? But I said yes because, I don't know, money, I guess. I think there's probably a perfect system out there, says Gabriel, at least for each person, a balance of grinding and reflecting that ends up with a perfect result. I agree with this. It's kind of like what I was talking about yesterday when I was talking about flow state, how everybody's flow state is achieved differently, but it's definitely a moving goalpost that I'm always trying to lock in on. I love it. If the goalpost didn't move, what a boring life would it be? What a boring life it would be if the goalpost didn't move. But boy, does it move. Okay. My friend wanted me to do a logo for her, says Ava, and never gave me any real specifics, etc. Yes. It's up to you now. In 3 years, I'm going to pay you mad bucks to make a sweet funk jazz orchestral anime theme song fusion track. Let's hope I'm still alive then, Dar. Whoa, did the stream just turn upside down for anybody else? Yo, remember when my phone used to do that and I thought I fixed it? I guess I didn't, because my phone's still doing that. I don't know where that... Oh crap, what the heck? Oh, that's weird. My phone's wigging out, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, what was I talking about? I feel like I've been turned upside down. Okay. My wife was commissioned to paint a mural of a local restaurant. She accepted it because she wanted the work, but once it started out, she immediately regretted it. That does seem to be a very, very fun, I mean, not so fun, but funny trait of the freelancer, right? It's like you need money. And sometimes you look at commissions as money. Sometimes. I'm not projecting this on everybody else. I'm just saying sometimes you see commissions as money. And so you're getting like 8 commissions. Let's say you're making, I don't know, something like $100 a commission. And you're like, oh, that's $800. Sick. My rent's paid this month. And then you agree to them and you're like, sick. And then you like, even you're organized and you're an adult, so you'll like open up your Google Calendar, your Apple Calendar, whatever iPhone people have, and you'll like, put them in, you click on the square and you make an event. And you're like, yes, got to do this then. Wow, I'm organized. And then you actually start on the commissions and you're like, oh, this is like a disaster, I think, maybe. Like, this is horrible. Because commissions are almost never as simple as they should be. It's never as simple as somebody saying, Omni, can you make me a 50-second oboe composition? I need it to match this animation that I have of I'm upside down again, aren't I? I don't know how to fix that. I'm just upside down. Here, I'll just turn my phone upside down. If it switches back again, I mean, I don't want to play this game. I feel like I'm a hostage to my phone now. Anyways, what's he saying? Anyways, you spread yourself really thin. And you will not, let me not project. When I'm taking all these commissions, I'm like, I'll have to make 8 songs. What I'm not thinking about is I'll have to have 8 very difficult conversations with 8 people who don't quite know exactly what they want. And there's going to be a lot of back and forth, and there's going to be a lot of labor involved that won't be me simply making 1 song. It'll be more akin to me making about 10 songs, and then the client just kind of agreeing on the one that they seem to care about the most. And so 8 times 10, it's like I'm making 80 songs actually and having 80 conversations as opposed to 8. So it's really like I'm getting paid $10 per commission. Anyway, whatever. Okay. I always underestimate the sketch and ideation process. Yeah, phase of the work. Yeah, same. Yeah. I hate the AI on smartphone camera. It tries to sugarcoat certain things and read the situation. How it fits certain idea. I try to find a way to disable it. Yeah. It's weird, right? Um, it's weird. But I think I have it figured out now. I think this is just the angle of them. I think my phone's this way now. This is what it is now. No. Whoa, hold on. I don't care. Anyways, it sounds almost like a Zico song. That one Zico song. It's like that, right? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Doesn't matter. Korean act. The thing is, my boyfriend already went through the sketch ideation phase on his own. He needs a vector. Oh, I see, Leona. I'm at a point that my flip phone, Gabriel says I'm at a point that my flip phone has a better camera than my new smartphone. I don't understand who is that type of text supposed to be catered to. I guess I don't either, Gabriel. That's so annoying. Anyways, I'm not gonna spend much time there. I can't ask for fourth time. What's been thrown? Ooh, wait, crap. Oh, Lindsay, did you really ask something 4 times and I missed it all 4 times? Jesus Christ! I'll scroll up. I can scroll up. I'm not. I've got a mouse now. I can scroll up. I don't want to have that song stuck in my head today. Nah, not today. I'm not in the mood. That's more of a happy mood. No, I honestly didn't see it, Lindsay, whatever it was. Sorry, I've been dealing with being turned upside down and stuff like that. Hi, Lavender Bloom. Welcome to the stream. Oh, it's because the battery's in there backwards. Why do we still use batteries? Why is that still a thing in society? I don't know if you're asking it again, Lindsay, but I'm scrolling up. Oh, what's your process for commissions? Crap, is that what you asked? Is that what it was that was asked 3 times? What's your process for commissions? I don't know much about music commissions, just visual art. I mean, it's very similar. It's as similar as you'd imagine. And the process, as you would also imagine, isn't very standardized. It's usually somebody says, hey, I want this thing, and I say, hey, that's how much that thing's going to cost, and they say, cool, and then I make usually like 2 to 3 things. I make 2 to 3 things. For example, like let's use the bunny rabbit that I was doing earlier. I get a lot of commissions from people that are like animation students. Usually they go to. I'm not gonna name drop any schools because people might know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's it's California. Any animation school in California. There will be somebody that's like, hey, I like your music. Also, I have this thing that's for my, final or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a student. And they've animated some cute bunny doing a thing. They're like, I need music for this. Cute and fun music. And I'm like, okay, cute and fun music can mean a lot of things. Do you want it to sound like this? And usually I'll send them because they usually don't do that amount of homework themselves. No offense to them. I know it's a process. I'll usually pull up a quick thing from Thumper and Bambi, that's very orchestral, very cinematic, and then I'll maybe send them like the song Bon Bon or something like that, and then I'll send them like a clip from, I don't know, Adventure Time or something like that. And I'm like, what exactly are you looking for? Are you looking for a thing that's going to feel like John Williams made it, where it's like a score, where there's woodwinds and stuff like that? Are you looking for something that has a bunch of synthesizers in it? Is it supposed to sound like a song, or is it supposed to sound like film score? And then once we kind of dial in on what exactly or what vaguely it is that they wanted to sound like, then I will make 3 different things. I feel like 3, 2 if I'm rushed or feeling particularly lazy, but usually 3 or more. I'll make 3 specific directions the track can go, and I will kind of limit the client to going like, yo, you gotta pick one of these. Like, which one of these more aligns with what you're hearing in your head for this character? And once they pick A, B, or C, then I will go on A, B, or C, and then make slight variations to A, B, and C, and go, okay, now which one? C1, C2, or C3? And they go C2. And I'll go, okay, and now I'm making C2 a full thing. Up until then, they're just kind of like a quick oboe or a bassoon line. Then I'll make like C2 and do a whole thing. Now, that's typically what a successful one goes like. There have been times where I've lucked out and I've gone like A, B, and C, right? And then the client was like, yo, A, that sounds perfect, like as is, just like spruce that up, I guess, do whatever like magic you need to do on it. But that's exactly what I'm hearing. Sometimes that happens and like I'm pretty grateful when it does. What's one type of commission you wish you would get, but you don't, says Jesse. Ooh. Oh, we're asking good questions in this stream? Hi, Lavender Bloom. Lavender Bloom. Why Lavender Bloom? Lavender Bloom. Why? Unless your name is actually Lavender Bloom, that's wild, if that's true. It's a very fascinating name. Okay. Hold on. Jesse, I'm pausing really quick what I was talking about to answer Jesse's question. Jesse says, what's the type of commission that you wish you would get, but you do not get? I would like to, I wouldn't though. No, I don't think I would like to do that. Sorry, let me focus. A commission? A commission that I would like, but I do not get. Oh, I swear to God, it's trying to turn me upside down again. The phone's wigging out. A commission I wish I got, but I don't currently get. This is gonna sound really stupid, but because, okay, the reason that this question is hard to answer is because there are a lot of commissions that I don't get that I would like, but I think I'm going to get them eventually because I'm like in line, kind of like I'm on the right path to get them. But a commission that I might not ever get, you know, because I don't feel like it's necessarily in my wheelhouse or like I'm not in the right industry for it, is I would really like to write like ad jingles. Like I would like to write like a bump for something, like a 15-second thing for like Geico car insurance or like AutoZone, something stupid like that. I would like to, like the State Farm jingle. Like I would love to be able to like make an Omni version of the State Farm jingle. Anyways, that'd be fun. But I honestly do not think that that's something that I'm going to get. Realistically, I'm not trying to speak negativity into my own path, but I think I'm just very much on like a very specific path, and Geico's like of it here, and I don't quite understand how like John Williams and Ludwig Göransson aren't exactly writing Geico jingles, and I feel like I'm more so in the wheelhouse of those things and people. Okay, do you price it per project, per song length, different revisions, different options, or all of that? It's all one price, Lindsay, for me. Like once you've commissioned me to do something, I give you one price, and that includes all of the revisions. To an extent. I mean, there is, and I think that it's one of those like kind of boundaries that I'll let people know when they get to. Like, you pay a price, and now I'm yours basically until we can get what you want done. Now, if somebody's asking me to revise something, like 20 times, I think that we now have a new conversation to have where it's like, okay, we may need to like revisit the price talk now because you're doing a lot. But no, it's like one flat fee. However, when it comes to like song length per project, it really does differ per project. Ivy and Sarasu, which are two of like the only friends I got left in this industry at this point. I feel like I had like a cool like circle and like everybody's kind of broken up, but those two are still like in my corner all the time. And they posted a really really interesting tweet that was very transparent about like how music is priced and commissioned, and how you're charging people per minute of music, but these things change drastically whether it's you're working on a film score or you're working on a video game or you're working on a TV show. Obviously, if you're working on a film score, you're not charging people per minute of music. You're just on the project now, and now you're working with I don't know, so and so on the new Spider-Man movie. If I'm working with somebody that's commissioning me for a video game, there's a lot of, oh man, Lindsay. Short answer is it's not very simple. Long answer is what I'm giving you now, which is like, let's say I'm working on somebody with a video game. No, let's say I'm working on somebody with a TV show. Let's say I'm working on a show called, I don't know, Big Dragon Hut. If I'm working on Big Dragon Hut and I do all the music for Big Dragon Hut, there's a lot of things in the contract that are like, okay, am I being paid per stream? Like, am I part of do I have part ownership of Big Dragon Hut? When Big Dragon Hut gets extra money from Netflix or whoever is like purchasing or leasing the series, do I get money from that? Yes or no? That's going to affect my price. Also, if Big Dragon Hut is a smash hit and the kids just all the kids love Big Dragon Hut, I want to dress up like Big Dragon Hut. And they're selling the soundtrack to Big Dragon Hut at like Anime Expo or something like that. Do I own any of that? Am I just selling my music to them now? Like, is none of it mine? What if I want to, tour around the country and I want to perform, the opening theme from Big Dragon Hut because I made it? Do I now owe that? Like, have they bought that? Do they own the rights to that? And so it's a very very complicated conversation and answer, Lindsay. But the long and short of it is, like, the crux of that conversation is, am I selling this music to you? Is this now your music? You being the client. And if the answer is yes, my price is a little bit higher. Because I know that once I give this music to you, I no longer see a penny from it. So I would like to be taken care of, so to speak. Now, if I'm making music for you and I still own part of it, for example, I no longer am in two-tone disco, but I still own a lot of that music in part because I made all of it. And so there is still revenue. I don't want to get into the specifics of it, but there is still some revenue coming to me from the music that I made in two-tone disco. However, if this were like, say, beautiful. If this were, like some video game, like if I made the music for Mega Man, and then Mega Man years later sells the soundtrack to Mega Man, like they've redone it, they're like, hey, you've heard the Mega Man soundtrack, but now we have it performed with an orchestra, and then they have an orchestral album of Mega Man music sold. Oh, that money isn't necessarily going to the original composer of Mega Man. This is all hypothetical, by the way. I don't even know who actually composed the music for Mega Man. Sorry. But the conversation just kind of wiggles around. Like, if you're buying ownership of a thing, typically it's more money than if you're leasing it from somebody. I hope that helps. I hope that explains any of that. Hello, Sandasty. Welcome back. Haven't seen you in quite some time. I hope you're doing okay. The rights agreements are always rough, says Jesse. They are. They're very annoying. Yeah, I do all of my business management myself, Jesse, which is both great and also a nightmare, because at least I know what's happening. Like, I know where my ownerships are. I know what masters I own. I know where my music is, but in a whack way, it's also like a headache because I don't really get to just focus on the music. I also have to like focus on a lot of other like stupid business mumbo jumbo. Um, yeah. Take care of yourself, guys. Like, there's so many like really wild stories about like. I'm gonna make this more a music conversation, but you guys can kind of maybe even take it and reapply it to something else in art. But there's so many stories about artists who we all heard their music and we danced, guys. Oh, did we dance? We danced all night to their music. Oh, we love it. We love it. Great music. Oh, they played this at my prom. And then there's like an image of that artist later on, and they're just broke. And people are like, "How can that be? I just listened to their music on the radio the other day. I just bought their album. How could I hope that $16 gets to them so they can buy a sandwich?" But it's like not. That's not how the music industry works. Sometimes you have to make sure you own your stuff, you know. And there's just so many easy ways to not own your stuff. There's a lot of companies and people that will give you really, really dope opportunities if you just sell them your stuff. But something that you need to remember is if you have confidence in your art, which, you know, sometimes I have, sometimes I have not. If you have confidence in your art, you have to have confidence that it will last for a really long time. For example, and I'm gonna edit some of the names in this story so that it's more, so that it won't get me in trouble later on. But when I first made Nice Dream, Bon Bon Sugar Lighter, etc., Jolly Pop, when I made that EP, I was shopping it very aggressively to a specific label. A label that I thought it was like surely gonna be signed to. Like, it was, when I made Nice Dream, guys, Nice Dream was really good. Now listening to Nice Dream, has it aged well? I don't really know, because now there's like a million artists that sound exactly like how Nice Dream sounded. But when you take into consideration that when I made Nice Dream, it was over 5 years ago, and that was a very different sonic playing field on SoundCloud. Once you take that into consideration, it's like, oh, this was like maybe a little bit early for this sound, and this specific label that I was shopping it to would have been a perfect home for it, and they would have helped me a lot. It didn't end up working out, and they didn't end up signing the song. So I ended up self-releasing it. It did okay, all things considered. It did not do nearly as well as I would like for it to have done, nor did it perform as well as it would have if it were signed to a label. Specifically, the one that I wanted it to be signed to. You know, a lot of years have gone by, and Nice Dream has appreciated in value. I would say that for the entire first year, let me put things into perspective. For the entire first 2 years, a year and a half to 2 years, I made $0 from Nice Dream. And I'm not exaggerating, I'm not like lowballing it for dramatic effect. I literally made no money off of that release. I released it on SoundCloud, so it's like it's getting streams. But when I put it up for any type of purchase thing, nobody bought it. And that's fine. That's fine, all things considered. Oh, man. I got to, luckily, do, like, self-distribution down the road. Now, Nice Dream is on things. Nice Dream is, like, featured in, like, a Funimation thing. Or Nice Dream is on Spotify. Or Nice Dream is on some, like, playlist for a boba shop. Nice Dream is still now, all things considered, it's a tough lead. Like, it's like a hair lead over Lush Dream, but it is my most profitable piece of music as far as, you know, the wide scheme of things. So I would say if I did sign to that release of that label that many years ago, effectively giving away a large percentage of its, you know, publishing and the masters. The problem that would have happened is later on, when that EP inevitably grew in popularity and revenue acquisition, that revenue would not have been mine. At least not in totality. I would have been sharing a pretty large sum of that revenue with the people who housed the release. The only reason I'm saying this is because if you're making music, there's always going to be times. No, if you're making art, let me back up and make it a little bit more vague and relatable. If you're making art, there's there's always going to be times where you can trade your own, I guess, revenue or value for a lot of things. You can trade it for reach, you can trade it for notoriety, you can trade it for opportunity, but that's always going to be as an artist, that's always going to be your bargaining chip, is your value. Other people will see value in your music or your art. You will see value in your art, but I don't want to say trick. The trade of the industry is taking an artist and trading them their value for opportunities. And if you think that you are in a place where you just can't achieve those opportunities no matter what, then it might be a worthwhile, deal to make. There are a lot of people that are making money off of a Cardi B record that are not Cardi B. And when I say a lot of people, I mean a lot of people. Countless amounts of people have their hands kind of in the pot, And that's fine, because at this point, Cardi B's so big that it really doesn't matter if anybody's taking that amount of money from her, because she's still doing okay. But we're all not Cardi B, and so if you're thinking about that, if you're like at a crossroads where you have to like give away a little bit of your value for some opportunities or something, just keep in mind that very few things in any art industry are immediate, and a lot of times it might seem like you're not moving, but you're actually moving in some direction, even if you can't exactly see the end goal. And so if I would have back then made that decision to give up part of my ownership of Nice Dream for exchange for like followers or some exposure, later on, 5 years down the road, I would have ended up regretting it. And there have been a lot of decisions I've made where I have, undersold or undervalued my work for opportunities, and I'm currently now regretting it because, I just didn't, I guess, have faith in the process or whatever my process was. But why am I bringing this up? Oh yeah, because that's the thing that happens a lot in like in commissions too, Lindsay. Sometimes you'll even like when you're pricing yourself, you're like, I'm kind of small and I do need this opportunity, so you'll price yourself pretty low because you just don't know any better. And then maybe later you end up looking back at that commission. Maybe that client that you did the thing for is now really big, or maybe you as the artist are really big, and you're just like, dang, I really let myself get robbed on that one. Anyways, yeah, I think that that crossroads never goes away. That crossroads never goes away. I still reach it every day. Every day. What a nice topic. Good question, Lindsay. Good input, Jesse. Definitely appreciate that. Hello, Lost in My Mind. Sorry I didn't acknowledge you when you first came in. Got kind of sucked into a really interesting conversation. Yeah. I have a lot of songs, so it's easier for me, right? There are some of my songs, which I won't say which ones, but there are some songs that I wrote entirely by myself, Lindsay, that I get zero money from, and somebody else is getting the money from them because I was paid up front to make a song, and now this person is still eating. They're getting regular monthly checks off of that song, and I already spent, the money that they paid me to make it years ago. Like, I spent the last of that money in like 2016, and they're still like buying clothes and paying rent and eating food off of like that. So it's one of those you live and you learn type things, but boy, it sucks. Sometimes people will be like, yo, I just listened to your music, and they'll show me what song, and I'm like, oh man, I'm sure who is very glad that he listened to that track. Yeah, you just gotta live and learn. You gotta live and learn. It is what it is. But the reason I said that is because I'm very fortunate. I have a lot of songs. You guys know I have well over 100 songs on like streaming platforms, and even more than that, just like randomly throughout the internet. So not everybody has that luxury that I do, where like there are several of my songs that I'm not getting any money from, or there are whole releases of mine that somebody else is eating off of that they didn't have any input into. And it's not as big of a loss for me as somebody with like such a big discography as it would be from somebody else that only had like maybe one album. If you have one album and the label is eating a lot of that album, sometimes it can suck. But yeah, I usually do all my own dealings. Gabriel says, I was saying something earlier that I wanted you to comment on. You said when you get commissioned for animations, You give them options that are outside your own works. Yes, Gabriel. And Gabriel says, I find this strange, since I think that if somebody approaches you, they want your specific touch and your sound. Ah, yes, Gabriel, a common misconception. You're right, though, Gabriel. That should be how it works. But that's not how it works. Not in this world. I think that a lot of people, a lot of clients, when they're reaching out to people, they're like, oh, you're a music man. I have a music need. Certainly, you can give me the thing I need. You see, what I need is music. No, I think that's the way most people think. And then going off of that even further, I do have a pretty vast catalog, Gabriel. So it's not completely on the ignorance of the client. Not all the time. I think a lot of times the client would be like, well, this person makes chiptune, but they also make like classical stuff, and they also make drum and bass here. They also have a whole album that's bebop jazz. They also have this mixtape that has like hip-hop elements. They also have this lo-fi hip-hop thing. And so it's like, if the client's looking at me and they're like, Omni has like 13 different sounds. And if they say, hey, Omni, we would like one of these things from you. I personally don't know that these people have heard all of my music, and I don't know what exactly they've heard. And so to get an idea of what it is exactly that they want, I sometimes will go outside of my own artistry and give them examples because, and granted, Gabriel, I don't give them an example of something I can't make. I don't like send them like a Skrillex song and go like, is this what you want? Because I'm setting myself up for failure. But I will give them examples of something that makes sense in that context. I'm going to say, oh, but you said they come to you saying, give me music, which that sounds pretty bad. For people trying to become filmmakers, that's pretty irresponsible, says Gabriel. I'm not going to speak to the responsibility of other artists, especially clients, right? Because you could say that that's irresponsible as a filmmaker, but there are a lot of very, very successful, very wealthy, very highly acclaimed, not only filmmakers, but just artists in general, who do approach other artists to commission them this exact way. There are even filmmakers and directors who approach like a lighting tech and are like, hey, I need lights. I need you to be able to make this thing that I'm imagining in my head come to fruition. And they won't exactly know, just because of ignorance, but not like a malicious ignorance, just like regular old ignorance. They won't know what to ask for. I can be the same way when it comes to other art forms as well. So I'm not going to completely slight the people on this. It is kind of annoying, but I found that if you're approached by, let me not project, I found that when I am approached for my work by somebody who does not quite understand my work, I do hold their hand a little bit. So when they're like, I need music, cute rabbit, happy, music, and I go, like this, like this, like this, I know that if I give them 3 Omni Boy songs, that would be conducive to my style. But also, sometimes they will have trouble placing an Omni Boy release on this rabbit. It helps a lot of people, I've discovered, if I give them a score in place. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of different terms for temp scores. I actually used to, when I worked at IKEA, this man used to come in and talk to me because he was a temp score guy for Disney. He basically made scores to put on animation for Disney, and none of his scores ever actually made it into the final film. They were just kind of placeholder scores so that when they hired an actual film composer to come in, the film composer had a rough idea of what exactly they were going for. That was his only job. He basically made a lot of music that never gets heard by anybody because it gets erased by the time the final product comes into play. And so I think that a lot of times when people are wanting to commission art from somebody, they do need their handheld of like, you know, this is what it's supposed to look like, right? Like here, I've got a, you know, I've got a big slideshow of different, you know, here's Fox and the Hound, here's Jungle Book, here's Lion King. See these scores, do you want to do this thing, or this thing, or this thing? I can do all 3 of these things, but if I simply send them Shoto Clone, and I send them Sugar Glider, even though I know sorry. Even though I know they were approaching me for my art, it's just, it makes it a little bit more difficult for them. And me as the commissionee am trying to make everybody's job a little bit easier than more difficult. Because it usually means I have to work less. Time-wise, not labor-wise. Okay. Jesse says that happens a lot, Gabriel. Look at all the people making X-type beats on YouTube. Yeah! That's actually a very good example that I wasn't going to think of or make. In my case, I wanted to give you some business because I appreciate your process and have become, says Cyber, acquainted with it over months and years I've been following. Oh, well, I appreciate that, Cyber. But in general, I had no idea you were so swamped with work, so I feel bad for asking. Oh, don't feel bad, Cyber, don't feel bad. A little secret, Cyber, is I'm kind of always swamped with work. And this week has been particularly heavy, to be fair. I feel like it's up to my eyeballs, but normally I'm in like waist-deep level of, Jesus, they are really going at it out there. I don't... It's like freaking body slamming. Okay, Gabriel says still, but you said they come to you saying, oh wait, I already read that. My bad, Gabriel. I feel like the example you gave, to the degree you gave, would be infuriating. I do get the whole process of walking through it. Yeah, the example I gave, yeah, it does sound very frustrating. It is pretty frustrating. It is pretty frustrating, Gabriel, but it's okay. It's not inhibitively frustrating. It's not, I mean, I can still do it. It's just part of it. I understand that music, oh, let's talk about music. Should I wait? Should I wait? I can never do placeholder stuff. That'd crush me. Well, Umbe, I have done placeholder stuff, and oh, you want to talk about being a session musician? Do you want to talk about what a session musician does half the time? Go, be free. It's your family. Go. Oh. I'll talk about music and then I'll talk about session musician because both of these are pretty important conversations to have. Are important points to make. The first point about music is that people do not understand music. And when I say people don't understand music, I'm saying as far as the art forms go, people can look at an anime and go, this anime good. I like this one. It looked like this. It sound like this. But a lot of times, and I'm talking, these are broad strokes, guys. These are broad strokes. Don't internalize this to mean you, because I don't know exactly. I know these people in here learn it, and a lot of people in here are artists. But a lot of times people will go look at an anime and they'll go, wow, it's so pretty. I love it. It's great. Or they'll see a trailer for an anime and they'll think, oh my god, wow, that looked incredible. I can't wait for this to come out. More people, talking majority here, not all people, more people are going to see the trailer and think that anime looked great than people that saw that trailer and thought that anime's score sounded amazing. A lot of people don't even really remember a score from the anime. But one of the main reasons that people remember, when I say people again, majority, one of the main reasons people will remember an anime theme or the music in it is because it happens so many times over the course of a series, right? There will be that tension song that comes up, or there will be that fun, like, free happy-go-lucky song that comes up to lighten the mood. But they kind of keep using, they have, like, interchangeably, 8 to 12 themes that they just kind of, like, deal out to help shape a mood. It's not, free balling it where it's new all the time. There's a lot of motifs in this. And so that is why people become over-familiarized with, like, say, this theme from Dragon Ball Z. People are a little bit more sensitive to visual things than they are to, like, breaking down how a score and how music plays with animation. So, that being said, when you take the layperson, even though they are not an artist, completely normie as far as the creative arts go, they will be a little bit more sensitive to visual stuff than they will to sonic things. When they look at an animation, they will to a certain degree, be able to understand what's happening on screen way better than they will be able to listen to a song and understand what's happening in the project file. Stop me if I've said something that doesn't make sense, but this is a thing. If I show you an animation or a movie or a picture or a painting, you can look at that painting and go, ah, yes, I see it now. Mountain, tree, is this a Bob Ross? If I play you a song, some people will be able to listen and go, ah, yes, woodwind, flute, snare, hi-hat, drum. But most people are not going to be as adept at breaking down sonic stuff. It's invisible, right? As they will be being able to break down visual stuff. So that being said, when people approach me, especially that are more in the visual arts, about sonic things, I do try to hold their hand a little bit, because I understand, not maliciously, they're just not typically able to navigate that area as well, because music is essentially invisible. And as art appreciators, sometimes visual things are just a little bit easier to digest than sonic things. Or not digest, analyze. I'm going to backtrack off of that, because, I mean, you can digest just about anything. I think that's not true at all, says Gabriel. I think that the way people who don't know what they look at view something visual as way more ignorant than you think. It's the exact same whole as music. Okay, hold on, sorry, I scrolled way out of it. I think in general, when you don't understand a certain topic, is like, I think you're overthinking it, Gabriel, because you do make visual stuff. I know that people that don't understand stuff will look at it as a black hole. I'm saying, if you look at an animation, you can understand, typically, unless it's like somebody's done just like a bunch of abstract stuff, you can generally understand what's happening on screen versus hearing a song and understand what's happening in project. I know, I don't want you to personalize this. I'm just talking about generally. And this for the same reason that when somebody is drawing something, maybe they're having like a drawing stream, like, oh, check out, I'm gonna do a live drawing, and they're doing a live drawing. The people that are watching are like, oh, cool, like a cute bunny. Like, I understand this, for the most part. Versus when I'm doing a production stream, it's not the same level of comprehension without me explaining things that are happening. As far as like, I don't know, maybe I'm just doing a poor job of explaining this. It's very rare to see something that's a true audio-visual collaboration. Yes, Jesse, this is true. This is true. People seeing things. People see things all the time, and they really do. I mean, that's so funny. People see things all the time. I think it's easier to pick out details, analyze them in visual art rather than in music. Sure can be better at pointing stuff out, analyzing the work, but you can see the details. That's what I'm getting at, Lindsay. It's very important. It's very important. Now, I don't know if that's innate, Gabriel. I don't know if that's something that we're taught. I don't know if it's because there's a lack of good mixed media, audio and visual stuff. I don't know if that's what that is. I don't know if it's because when people are looking at something, it's easier for them to identify man, shoe, boot, building, sword, monster, than it is for them to hear a song and go, oboe, bassoon, oh, that's a woodwind, so, and it's not an oboe, bassoon, the registry's higher, flute. It's like easier for somebody to look at an image and identify the things than it is for them to hear a song and identify the things. They can tell a hand's moving and somebody's talking, but understanding what they're looking at is... See, Gabriel, you're going too deep. I know. You're going too deep. I understand what you're saying. Again, you're an artist who like looks at visual art a lot. So you're thinking about it on a deep level that I'm not even getting to, Gabriel. That would be like me talking about hertz ranges and saying that somebody could listen to a song and like not understand if this is 50 hertz or if this is 65 hertz. I'm not talking about that technical. I'm talking very bare bones analysis. Like, this is this instrument versus this is that object. This is this sound versus this is that visual representation. This is that color versus this is this. You know, it's. Does that make sense? If you are going on that angle, says Gabriel, then it's not quite fair to say instruments. If you'd want to go into audible ideas, the bare bones would be something like talking. Oh. I disagree, but this is interesting because I'm talking about music. Yeah, I know people can identify talking versus what, Gabriel? What would be the other things that somebody would have to analyze? This is such an interesting conversation. Yeah, we're just talking about perception, Lindsay, not deeper meaning. We're not talking about deeper meaning. This actually makes me really curious about how music breaks down in your head on me. Oh. Come into a production stream. Exactly. Okay, exactly. People can identify talking, but not deep concepts in music. I'm not talking about deep concepts, but I'll continue. Just like people can tell hand move, but not understand deeper concepts behind it. I don't think... Okay, let me finish. I think they both have the problem, but in different ways. I agree they both have problems. My contest point, I guess, is the severity of this problem. I'm not arguing that music doesn't have this problem or art doesn't have this problem. You're right, Gabriel. There's levels, right? If we get deep enough, you introduced the deeper concepts term, and the reason that I guess I don't agree is because I don't consider a guitar to be a deep concept, nor do I consider a woodwind or a wind instrument to be a deep concept. I don't consider these deep concepts in music. Those are literally the tools you use to make music, you know? So if like somebody goes into a... Ooh, I'm never going to be able to play that again. You don't listen to music abnormally, I don't think, Lindsay. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. But I think you're saying talking versus what? Like, yes, people can identify talking, but that is a tool. That is a voice. It's the same thing I'm saying with guitar. It's a voice. It's a thing. And guitar isn't like some like super abstract instrument. People are very familiar with the guitar. Gabriel says, I don't consider digital ink and paint to be deep concepts, but most people don't even know how animation is made. But that's beside the point. One moment. What? Absolutely, Umbe. It's hard to be unbiased, right, when you're an artist, because you just can't hear music the way a normie hears it. Sorry for using the word normie. You can't hear music the way a non-musician hears it. In the same way that you're not going to see animation, if you're an animator, the same way that a non-animator sees animation. This is true. So it's hard to put yourself in that place. I'll drink some water in a minute. I did have my smoothie, which, you know, all fruit is what? Like 1,000,000% water or something wild like that. I do need to drink water, though. It's not by me like it usually is. It's way over there. It's way over there by my nightstand. Back to something from before. I had just assumed Geico had a jingle, but I couldn't actually place it. Not like Intel or something. was not what I expected it to be. I don't think I know what Geico's jingle actually is. I just threw that out there because it was like a company that has regular ads, but their ad campaign got so wild around like the caveman era when it was like there was the caveman, but then there was also like the Geico like gecko, and there was somebody else. There was like another thing or another person. They just had like a lot going on. I don't remember if there was a solidified jingle or something. I'd like to go back to the macro, says Gabriel. My argument is that I understand the problem, and it's actually existent in every field of cognition. It's like a tree where the people who don't understand are stuck on a higher branch. I can agree with this. You're not sure if that metaphor works. I think that metaphor tracks. I think high P's beam. I'll look it up. I'll look it up, by the way, Jesse. Yeah, I think that people, and there are a lot of studies. I won't go deep into them because I don't have them sourced right now. I have to come with sources next time. There are a lot of studies about how visual people are versus how sonic they are, because a lot of the world around you obviously is visual. There's like a whole, oh my god, there's a whole conversation on being blind versus being deaf that, needs to be taken into consideration. But I think you're right in that the problems do exist in all genres and in all art forms. But I think that having a conversation with somebody based on visual things is always a little bit easier than having a conversation with somebody based on sonic things. And people learning how to associate very visual things with the real world around them, like, oh, there's these colors. Even the idea of colors, we just have a little bit more to pull from, Gabriel, I think, when it comes to visual than we do with sonic, than we do with audio things. There's so much more to pull from. There's concepts that like people do just understand on the bare bones of things. You know, people understand that when you do red and blue, you're gonna get like more of a violet, like a purple color. People like do understand that. I mean, generally, right? There's probably a lot of people on the planet that don't know that red and blue to some degree makes a purplish color, right? Color theory, it's very difficult, but people kind of understand that, and people can understand shades of green. People can understand things that are visual. When it comes to sonic and audio, there are concepts that people just aren't going to get. People will go, this is a high-pitched sound, or this is a low sound. But the vocabulary and analysis there for analyzing sound isn't as developed and required as visuals are. Just because you're seeing stuff all the time. I mean, you're seeing stuff all the time, and you're like having to make a lot of judgment calls. There are very few things. There are some things, right? Like if you think about a microwave or whatever, like it makes like a ding sound. There's cars honking. There are a lot of things that even somebody with their eyes closed, this communicates an idea to them for sure. But a lot of those things, I feel, have been like more associative, like connected to a thing. A honking horn doesn't really mean anything. It's just a sound a car makes. We like put that, we get like by association, we like put that on a car, and so you hear that and you understand what's happening. But a lot of people don't actually understand like sound on the same level that they're understanding visual things. Humans' most strong sense is vision, says Gabriel. I'm just saying that that complaint you said isn't special for music. Oh yeah, I was never saying that. I just think it's worse for music. Yeah. Oh, if that's what this conversation was, we were on the same side the whole time. I think that problem exists under all art forms. I was never saying that problem doesn't exist for visual stuff. That's never the point I was making. The point I was making is it exists more severely for sonic and audio stuff. And that's just, I want to say that's just facts, but we can debate that like all day, you know, because I don't know if there is a strong black and white fact that it is harder, but I'm just saying, I mean, I live in this world, we all live in this world, and these are the things that have happened in it. Hey, Nova. Holy crap, hi, Nova. Sorry, where have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, so much for not being a 2-hour stream. We had a whole hour just on a debate of commission, and it's like the art theft conversation. I think the problem gets worse the deeper the rabbit hole goes. So for something like film, I'd say it's multiples. It multiplies. Sorry, it multiplies because it's not just music and visuals; it's audio, visual media. Absolutely, Gabriel. Absolutely. I mean, obviously, every film. I had a whole conversation about Marvelous Miss Maisel. Um, oh my God! No, I want to talk about Popeye because I made an Instagram thing about Popeye yesterday. It really stemmed from how obsessed with olive oil, not olive oil, but obsessed with Shelley Duvall by way of olive oil I was when I was a kid. I don't want to talk about her here because she's not the point of this, but that woman was amazing. In the Popeye movie, in the Popeye live action movie, I saw it as a kid. I liked it. I wasn't exactly sure why, but I did. And then rewatching it as an adult, I'm like, it's not just a good movie. It's not just well acted. It's not that the wardrobe's really cool. It's not that there's musical numbers in it and somebody had to write all these songs. It's like, it is, like you're saying, it's like this multimedia thing of like audio, visual, and even the even the visual isn't like one note. It's like these scenes are lit this way for a specific reason. The set design, this building was built all wonky to like mimic the cartoon. There's a wardrobe, there's costumes, there's makeup, there's all these things that are in the visual. And then when it comes to audio, it's not as vast, kind of to go along with our conversation about how the sound just isn't as important or as perceived or analyzed regularly as visual stuff is. So the audio department is a little bit smaller than the visual department, right? You got lighting, you got wardrobe, you got all these things going on. Then when audio comes up, it's mostly just score, Foley, sound design. Sound design kind of being an umbrella term, but you've got your music and you've got your sound effects, kind of. And a lot of things can be done on a micro level in there, but Popeye is this amazing movie, and I think it's this amazing movie because of all these things kind of came together. It isn't great for one thing. There are a lot of things, guys. There are so many things that I've experienced that do one thing really, really well, and everything else is kind of like, whatever. It's a big whatever. For me personally, right, because of my personal taste. Somebody else might disagree, and I hope they would. I think there's a game called Drakengard. This game, oh my god. I'm not particularly fond of the soundtrack. The score is like not great for me. The gameplay isn't great for me. The dialogue is not great for me. But you can ride a dragon in it, which is amazing. And so, yeah, I literally bought that game because you could ride a dragon in it. And everything else was kind of like trash. For me. And so, yeah, like a lot of those things playing together to make a good film it's nice. It's nice when things can work together. Oh, it's so nice. There is writing between them. Sorry, between both of them, tying everything together. You're right. Talking to people about anime got me to realize how many people completely missed the idea. Here's the problem. You want me to give you an umbrella problem, Gabriel? When you make this is a collective you. This isn't a you specifically. When you make art, yeah, nobody's gonna get your specific like hyper high art neurotic like thing you're trying to put through. Like there's so many like hidden meanings or whatever in my music, Gabriel, that I have to go and like type in a text and explain to people, this is what I was trying to do with this one. And if you listen closely here at this point, see, you just don't get it. It's a masterpiece, bro. Like, but at the end of the day, it's like if you don't like something, you don't like something. If you like something, you like something. And that's why I avoided your comment, like, I don't know, a couple streams ago when you were like, it's sad that you didn't get it. Because getting it is never something that you can or should expect from anybody. Because that's like me giving somebody like really spicy food and then being like, I don't like spicy food. I'm like, you just don't understand what spicy food's supposed to do, though. It enriches the, like, people understanding things. You can never rely on people understanding your art. You hope people will like it. if people do understand it, that's really dope. But oh man, I've had way too many conversations with people that are like, oh, you just don't get it. You're not understanding it, man. Like, you see what he ended it like this, and in the beginning, it's all a reference. So, like in his childhood, did you even like read up on the director? Like the director, you see, well, he went to Yale, and when he went to Yale, he met this woman, and in this scene, there's like, see how her dress is blue? It's just, you know, if people get it, that's like really really cool though. I've definitely made some like super high like hoity-toity like music ideals, and I was like, yo, when people get this, when people play this track backwards, oh, I can't wait for that tweet. I can't wait for that tweet when somebody's like, oh man, I just listened to your song backwards at 95 BPM. It's the same as that other song forward. But like, I'm just like, oh man, no one's gonna do that. I don't think spicy food is a good example since spicy food is subjective. Well, Gabriel, everything is subjective, but I'll continue with your comment. You say you can have an objective meaning behind something and nobody understands it. This is why advertising is important. I don't think that you can have an objective meaning behind something. I'm not even trying to get super existential. Give me an example, though, Gabriel, of an objective meaning behind a piece of art. Not to put you on the spot. What is a piece of art that has an objective meaning and that is not subjective? Jesse says, I think it's the cyan, yellow, and magenta bits that really throw people off. Oh, so many people grew up in the United States, at least, saying, playing with crayons, and they know how to blend red, blue, and yellow. Yeah. Wow. Oh my god, we want to talk about regional stuff? That's extremely regional. Yes. I don't even think I heard, like, the word cyan until, I don't know. I think I was, like, watching Red versus Blue, ironically enough. The, like, Rooster Teeth thing. Let's not talk about that, though. Let's not talk about Halo in this stream. This reminds me of that Zelda song backwards. A piece of art is a puzzle, says Gabriel. And aspects of it are a puzzle. A good director presents them well and allows the viewer to create the real meaning. Sure, it will fit their own life, but there will be an overall picture that is what the director shared there. Is this you giving me an example of an objective piece of art, Gabriel? Because I would argue that what you just described is a subjective piece of art. But I don't think that was the example. I want an example, Gabriel. Give me an objective piece of art, and I will go from there. Or we will go from there. The art discussion is always fun because you can't set an upper or lower level of art. Listening to somebody try to define and set those limits is a fun time. Oh. Okay, Gabriel says FLCL and they're just naming anime. Okay, so Gabriel says FLCL is objective piece of art. I would counter and say it is subjective, but why is it objective? Explain to me how it's objective, though. I'm a blank slate. I'm erasing all of my Liana, stop it. I'm erasing all of my preconceived notions of both of those pieces of art, anime art. Why are they objective, Gabriel? No, none of these questions are important. None of these questions are important. Only the one I said. Only the one I said, Gabriel. Gabriel says FLCL is objectively about what it means to be an adult. Okay. Why does that make it an objective piece of art? Because the director said it's about. Okay, let me back up. Go on. Go on, Gabriel. Go on, Gabriel. I'm with you. We're all with you. In fact, it's so on the nose, the robot mecha literally says, adult on the head. Okay. I'm with you, Gabriel. I am with you. There's a puzzle, there's a solution, and there is a confirmation that you solved the puzzle. Okay. Therefore, the coming of age is objectively what this work is about. Gabriel, you've done your research on FLCL. Oh wait, you're okay. Gabriel says, for solving the puzzle, all the pieces fit together right. Okay. All the pieces fit together right. And I hear what you're saying, Gabriel. You're saying like all these pieces in the thing, it's like, oh, then why did why did the robots, say adult? It's like, that fits in with this theory, or this objective point of this art, and so it fits in. There are no pieces that don't fit your line of thinking. That's the puzzle you're talking about. It's objectively the right thing, and it's objectively not about cute puppies or demons. Okay. I'm very proud of you, Lindsay, by the way. I'm never not proud of you, Lindsay. We are always proud of you in the stream. Exactly. We are presented with a puzzle, just in a complex term. Okay. You're saying all the pieces fit together. There's only so far we can go into this YouTube channel. Guys, I feel like my body's like... I feel like my skeleton's gonna jump out of me. But I'm really glad that I'm having this conversation with Gabriel, because this is actually very important. It's a very important conversation to have. Because I think that... okay. So... Gabriel is saying, and Gabriel, please stop me or correct me, because I don't want to misquote you, and I think I understand what you're saying. You're saying art is a puzzle, and there are pieces that fit together. If you figured out the puzzle, i.e. discovering the objective purpose for this piece of art, then you have... Your reward for solving the puzzle is that all the pieces will make sense. For example, FLCL, a lot of people in this stream, and outside of this stream, are very familiar with that anime. It was very short and very digestible, and it was very hyper-stylized. For a lot of people, that was that was a brain explosion looking at that one. It's like, oh my god, this robot's got a TV for a head. It was very... I'm quoting myself. That's not me making fun of weebs. That was me as a kid looking at that and being like, oh, TV head. And every single time I saw a TV head after that, even in a Saga, that newer comic book, it was like, oh, wow, they really did the TV head robot. And so I feel I mean, obviously I like FLCL, right? I have the manga in my living room. So I think I get what you're saying. The pieces of the puzzle will fit together if you've discovered the meaning. What might seem on the surface as a lot of random parts, if you have discovered the objective purpose behind art, all of those pieces will make sense, and it's not just about, as you put it, cute puppies and demons. Now, Gabriel. Gabriel, when I say all art is subjective, what I mean is that when you make something, let me go back, and I know that you debunked this as a, let's say, an equivalency or a false analogy, a flawed analogy rather, when I brought up spicy food, because you said spicy food is subjective, and you're absolutely right, Gabriel. I go to a place called Howlin' Ray's that has a list of spicy levels, and there's medium, hot, X hot, and then there's double X hot, and then there's one above that that's like, this is the one that, they're taking photos of you and they're bringing it out with like special stuff. I'm not gonna eat that. I'm not crazy. But I do get hot and I get X hot. X hot's delicious for me. I let my bosom pal who lives in my neighborhood, we went together, and I let her have a bite of my X hot, and I saw her demolished. And it made me feel horrible, Gabriel. I took no pleasure in this. Face was red, eyes tearing up. She's like, I gotta go. I gotta get home. I gotta get to a bathroom. And I was like, oh no. This is different for her than it is for me. For me, not so spicy. For her, extremely spicy. Another thing that's subjective is obviously freaking cilantro. I just got a burrito yesterday. I asked for it without cilantro. Sorry for anybody in the stream that this offends. I can't consume cilantro. It just ruins meals for me. That stuff ruins meals. It's like stronger than mint for whatever reason, because of my taste buds. Because it's subjective. You are saying that this is not equivalent to art, because art, maybe not all art, because you did not say all art, but art can have an objective purpose. It's a puzzle. There is a right answer and there is a wrong answer for somebody perceiving it to say, this is about blank. Now, something that's interesting about that, Gabriel, is if I, as the maker of a piece of art, said, this piece of art is about this, and somebody perceives the art and they go, oh, you're right. I mean, he made it, and then they can now build the narrative around what I have said. I'm not saying, let me jump out really quick, and I'm not saying that this is what you or anybody did for FLCO. We all have been on the internet. We all have seen FLCO. We know the oh, it's about this. It's about coming into adulthood. It's about puberty. It's about this kid. We all know the very overt public opinion and creator's opinion on what FLCO is about. But I'm saying, Gabriel, that if I tell people that, what's a good example? I have a song called Vanilla. And a lot of people have, not a lot of people, 3 people, literally 3 people have told me what Vanilla is about. And all of them were wrong. And then I did a breakdown, right? Because we're talking about right and wrong answers. All of them were wrong. Because their answer was different than me, the person who made its answer. It's different. In the same way that somebody may say, oh, they say, oh, Omni, you shouldn't use a baseball bat to nail in a nail into the wall. And I'll say, well, why not? And I'll say, well, that's wrong, Omni, that's wrong. You should use a hammer for that hammer and nails. Baseball bats and baseballs. That's the right way to do things. They'll say, the reason you know that it's not for hammering a nail in is because the pieces don't make sense. The handle's all long down here, there's a big rounded edge instead of a nice flat surface, and they would be right. Baseball bats are not for knocking nails into a wall. But it can do it. Even though it has an objective purpose that it was created or designed for, that does not, it's not this rigid, I guess, set of circumstances that you can use it, and you can kind of if it works, you can use it in that thing. Now, if I create a song and I have a purpose for myself behind it, the person listening to it, Gabriel, I would argue, does not have to solve some puzzle to get the right answer and all the right pieces will make sense. And we can even do this in anime. Gabriel, I know that you stressed a good director. So I know that we're not talking about all art, right? You stress a good director creates a puzzle basically with a right answer and a wrong answer. I would argue that that is not a sound basis to judge a good versus a bad director. Does that... I know that... It is, and I agree. Okay. So I haven't said anything so polarizing yet. This is good. I think that if you are creating art, you're creating art. And when people are perceiving art, not everybody is going to have access to your cognitive process when creating that. I'm just giving an example of how art can be seen as objective. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad that you said it that way too. Yes, that is an example as how art can be seen as objective, but not how a piece of art is definitively objective. Art still remains to be subjective. Even FLCL, it can be seen as objective, yes. This is such a wild conversation that I actually do not like having. Because those two things can exist in harmony. I can see so many things as objective, but that doesn't make it so. Even somebody who creates a thing can see it as objective, but that does not make it so. Have I said... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm taking Gabriel out of context. That wasn't my goal. That wasn't my goal. I apologize. I did not mean to. That was not... My point is that something can be seen as objective, and you're absolutely right, but that does not make it objective. Especially when we're talking about art. Art is wild. Especially something as wild as an anime, like you were talking about, like multimedia things, where it's like it's not just a picture, it's like there's motion, there's voice acting, there's music, there's so much going on. Adding a lot of ingredients to it, it becomes more, the more things you add, the more and more objective it becomes, right? Somebody can draw a circle on a piece of paper and say, this is a circle, this is objectively a circle. Somebody could definitely argue that it's not. I'm not gonna have that argument though, but let's just say, erroneously so, that a circle on a piece of paper is objectively a circle. That it's not a cylinder from the top-down view, or that it's not like a odd perspective oval. Let's just say it is a circle, and that's objective. There is nothing but truth to that. If you start adding things to this image, maybe you draw it in blue, and you say, well, this is objectively a lake. Somebody says, well, that's not what I see it as. I see it as a raindrop shown very close up. It becomes more and more subjective the more things you add, and since so much art is so dynamic, I would argue that even art that has an objective purpose or an objective ideal or is seen objectively ceases to be so when it is shared with a broader ocean of opinions and perspectives. Art, just like all things human, are turbulent. I agree with this, Gabriel. A lot of people refuse to call something objective because they see objectivity as something existing only in a rigid space. I agree with you. But if objectivity does not... You're saying that objectivity is seen in a rigid place. This is what on your own line of thinking, because you said that there is objectively a right answer and a wrong answer. There's nothing more binary than that I can think of. Between right and wrong, your objectivity exists in this one place as right, while all other conclusions exist in a field of wrong. You're saying the good director made a puzzle. For FLCL, it's about adulthood. If I say FLCL is about robots, I, by that theoretical analysis of FLCL, am wrong, because I did not arrive at the same correct, rigid answer of it's about adulthood. It's about adulthood. The robot says adult on it, so it's about this. Everybody else is wrong. I think that is where objectivism or objectivity is seen as rigid, because you even yourself said that there is a right and a wrong. This doesn't open up for a lot of nuance. Nuance, by definition, belonging more so in subjectivity than objectivity. More gray area, I suppose. Oh, thanks, Easy Door. I don't know that I'm oversimplifying what you're talking about, but let's say that I am. What you said is that there is a right answer. There is a right. That is what you said, which is a simplification. I'm going off of only what you told me. There are more than one objective truth. So then what are the other objective truths for the objectivity of FLCL? Since that is the example you gave of an objective piece of art, what are the other objective truths for it? What else is it about? It's objectively a show about robots, says Gabriel. So, okay, Gabriel. You're saying it's objectively a show. I see what you're saying. So if I watched FLCO and I said, that show's about robots, I got it. I put the puzzle together. I got the truth. It's about robots. That's right. Right? Gabriel? Because even in a previous stream, when I said that I didn't like an anime, and you said, you just didn't get it, that doesn't exactly speak to objectivity very much. The only reason I didn't like it is because I didn't get it, right? Maybe you were joking when you said that. This sounds like subjectively not gonna lie. To a degree, robots are a heavy theme. I know, but we're not talking about heavy themes. We're talking about objectivity. There can be a lot of themes in music. There can be a lot of themes in art. But you were talking about objectively solving the puzzle or getting the answer wrong. You said you can get the right answer, evolved at the right answer, and all the things around will support that, you said? All the pieces will make sense, you know, if you get the right answer. Lindsay Chu. Yeah, there's a jetpack on this goalpost, but it's okay. It's okay. Saying the story, the character story would effectively be the same without robots. So if we were talking about the full main theme of the story, it is adulthood. I'm not talking about full main themes. I'm talking about the objective purpose behind the art, which is where the conversation started. Are you saying full main theme and objective purpose are synonymous? That they're interchangeable? Not being catty, just honest. I just want to know. I want to know. Full main theme versus objective purpose of art. No, there are many objective truths to something. Well, that's not a puzzle at all then. By your own analogy. If you buy a puzzle, there's really one way to put together that puzzle. You know, every piece has its place and it creates a picture. At least I would hope so, unless there is a weird puzzle out there. But, you know, once you get the answer right, I've definitely solved a puzzle before. Growing up feels like pulling giant space robots from your head objective. Liana, stop it! Stop! Stop. Oh, Liana, don't do that. Don't do that. I love this shirt too. Oh, it's a Bart Simpson shirt. Yo, the Simpsons were way smarter than I was when I first started watching it. Ooh, are you really? Cyber? Oh my god. Oh, okay. Gabriel's got early Simpsons seasons are wild to me, coming back to them now. Jesse, I referenced Simpsons. I can't say what's so funny, Lindsay. I can't say what's so funny for the same reason that you can't talk about where the goalpost is going. Looking back at The Simpsons, there are so many jokes that, oh my god, there are so many jokes in The Simpsons that are like deeply funny, but don't. Do you kind of understand what I'm saying? Like, they don't say anything really about the show. It was like one line that was an analysis on society, and I'm talking like maybe before like South Park was doing their thing. It was just kind of like The Simpsons would make a lot of really funny jokes about society, and I didn't get them when I was a kid because they were so veiled with Simpsons hijinks, you know, like the whole Simpsons had a really scathing take on the bipartisan system when two aliens try to run for president, and it didn't click with me as a kid, but as an adult now, it's like one of the most frustrating things looking at that YouTube clip. Okay, Gabriel says Sudoku. You bought yourself a piece of paper with Sudoku puzzle on it. There is one solution to the puzzle, but the solution to the Sudoku, that's the meaning of the Sudoku. Yes. However, it is also an objective truth that the Sudoku is on a piece of paper drawn with ink and is a 9x9 table and is made out of atoms. Oh god. Okay. Yes. Oh god. I guess by that definition, it's an objective truth that, like, I mean, FLCL, the like manga that I have in there is like also on paper and like has ink and was shipped to me by like FedEx, like, but that's not really the art. That's not the art. So I don't know if this analogy tracks, but I'm still gonna stick tight until the very end, unless that was the end. Cyber, I haven't taken a bath in so long. I don't even remember what that feels like. Is it cool? I don't know. One day. So the meaning of FLCL is about a kid growing up. If you put a kid growing up on the Sudoku... Oh my god, this analogy just went wild, guys. I know you're in the parentheses, but it's wild out here. It's wild. Okay, alright. So the meaning of FLCL is about a kid growing up. If you put kid growing up on the Sudoku, that is FLCL, it all check. All the row makes 1 through 9 and don't clash. If you put robots as the meaning, if you put robots as the meaning, it doesn't. However, it is a big part of the work. It is an objective truth of the work. This goes into semantics of what the meaning is. Which makes this endlessly more complex. Goodbye, Liana. Thanks for making this stream. Please enjoy your work conference call, and I'm glad that I got to play Double Let's for you before you parted. Heaven help. Art is subjective. I know that's not... I know art's subjective. Everything's subjective. the reason objectivity is seen as rigid, uh, Gabriel, the reason that objectivity is seen as rigid is because even in your own explanation of the objective the objective purpose behind FLCL was it's about adulthood, and a good director is creating this puzzle where if you get all the pieces right, you arrive at the right answer. And I think that is why it's rigid. A right and a wrong answer. A right and a wrong answer. You're saying that there are many right answers. You were saying that there's a lot of, you said it's objectively about robots, for example, so I guess that would be a right answer. But you said yourself that it is about adulthood, and it's got adult on the forehead. You didn't say the objective purpose behind FLCL was adulthood and robots and, I don't know, cute girl and electric guitar. You said that it was about adulthood. And art, at the end of the day, it's art. It's objective. There are things, Gabriel, in the world that are, I think, objective, right? I think we need oxygen. We being humans, I think we need oxygen. I think that's just objective, right? There's very little subjectivity there. Like, if you keep oxygen away from somebody, unless there's something I don't know, right? I don't know a lot about gases and stuff, but I'm pretty sure if you keep oxygen away from a person, they will expire. That is objective. There is no, but what if if you give them this gas, it's like similar to oxygen. I don't know. As far as I can tell, that is an objective truth. But art is not that. Art is subjective. Art can have a purpose to a lot of different people. And I know that if somebody who created that art, their purpose or point for that art should be in quotes seen as like gospel, right? Because I made it, therefore I know what it's for. I made it because I know the objective purpose. I made this knife and I'm calling it a bread knife. It's for cutting bread. If you use it to do anything else, that's not the purpose of it. I made it. I made it for bread. I think that it's easy to fall into that that mindset, right? Like that things have an objective purpose, that art has an objective purpose. And you're saying that you don't think the creator implies the person who knows. Okay, that's fine. I'm saying I don't think anybody implies the person who knows the ultimate purpose. And that is what makes it subjective. I think that somebody could also look at FLCL, or even if we're not limiting ourselves to that example, can look at any piece of anime, any book, and say, you know what, it's actually about this. It's actually about abortion. And this lines up with my theory, 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 and this lines up with my theory. Therefore, it's true. Now, there's some other things out there. Yeah, in like chapter 3, there's a weird thing where like a dog turns into a hot air balloon, but whatever. There's this weird thing where somebody pulls like a robot out of their head, and that's like, I don't know. I don't know how that connects to adulthood, but maybe, I don't know, pain, I don't know. Really loose. Some of these strings are going to be a little looser than the other ones that attach to your theory. But that is subjectivity. People are kind of allowed to consume something and then draw their own conclusions. This, like, I guess sparks a bunch of debate, but the fact that that happens, makes things a little bit more subjective. And since it's a piece of art, yeah, it's objective. It's a subjective piece of art. I've just seen way too many people like break down like, this is what Fight Club's about. This is what Inception's about. This is what this is about. Did you see this episode of BoJack? It was actually about this. And then people are just kind of allowed to come up with their own conclusions, and that's beautiful. I love that. I love that art is subjective, because there's a lot of times, Gabriel, when I have made a piece of art and a very specific, oh my God, I won't go down this road very, very long, but there's been times, Gabriel, where I've made a piece of art that did have an objective purpose or a point to me at that time, and its point actually shifted over time to me, not even anybody else. Like, I've gone back and I've listened to that thing, and now it has, like, its narrative has evolved. And it's a beautiful thing, actually, when it happens. It doesn't happen very often, especially if you are like me and forget your songs a lot. But I think, yeah, that is the subjectivity of art, that is why it becomes a huge conversation when somebody says, like, this is a bad artist versus this is a good artist. This is a good song or a bad song. This is a sad song or a happy song. Why is it sad? Because the words are a breakup. Why is it sad? Because it's played in a minor key. Why is it sad? Because there's like a little sad violin coming in. Why is it sad? Because my boyfriend broke up to me to this song. A lot of subjectivity there, right? There are so many songs like that. I have songs, oh my god. I've had songs where I've just said gibberish in them, Gabriel, and they were about things. They did have an objective point to me, but it fell apart. To me, that thought sounds like escapism, says Gabriel. I think more things are objective than most people would admit. This might sound mean, but it's also frustrating to hear subjectivity over and over. I mean, things can be frustrating to hear, for sure, but that doesn't make them any less true. And I don't think that's escapism. That's just analysis of the world around you. You know, you can see things and perceive them a certain way. That doesn't necessarily mean you're trying to escape somewhere. Escapism is a thing. It's a very, very important thing that I've talked about at length, especially when talking about video games. Like, video games were primarily a form of escapism for me at a time, and no longer are that. But I still do appreciate video games a lot, you know? And so there's just different things that I look for in video games because I'm not looking for the escapist goal, being able to get out. But, yeah. I get that it's frustrating to hear subjectivity over and over. I can get how that is a thing, but this is the world we live in. We're all so different, and we all have so many different perspectives. Subjectivity is like saving us in a lot of ways. There are some people that do believe in objective truths, and sometimes some subjectivity, nuance can help that. Yeah. Oh, I guess I'm misinterpreting what Gabriel was saying. I don't think we will reach a conclusion on this. If by conclusion you mean you agreeing with me or me agreeing with you, I mean, yeah, probably not. I'm just, when people say art is subjective, that is where that comes from. Yeah. Subjectivity, the odd implication that subjectivity is negative. I don't think I've ever heard this proposition before. Yeah, I mean, me neither, but I can see how somebody that thinks that art is objective can think that subjectivity was some type of failing or like inequivalency or like negative outcome of art. Everything can be perceived differently, says Peace Bean. A lot of truths to one is false to others. Yeah. Oh my god. This is eloquent. This is beautiful, Peace Bean. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I just don't think there is one right or wrong, you know? When it comes to art, I think there is a lot of objectivity in this world. There is. An expression, which is what art a lot of times is. It's an expression. Sometimes these are a little bit harder to put objectivity on, you know? Because I asked for an example of an objective piece of art, and you gave me one, and you told me what its objective purpose was, and then went back to say that there are several objective purposes of it, and that objectivity isn't rigid, but that is the definition of subjectivity, is that it's not rigid and there are several different interpretations. So if somebody says it's about adulthood and somebody says it's about robots, that makes it subjective, you know? If it can be about both of those things, if it can be perceived as being about both of those things, that's more a point for the point that I'm making than the point that there's an objective purpose behind that art. A right and a wrong, rather. A right and a wrong. I think that there are some people, also, I think that there's not, Gabriel's saying that's not what they said. I don't know exactly what part of what I said you're referring to, but you did say that it was objectively about adulthood. That is a thing that you said. Lindsay wants to, I don't know why it hid your thing, Lindsay, for wanting to bang a gavel. I think because of the word bang. YouTube's getting very, very sensitive. Ooh. Yeah. Um. Yes. There is an exposition in a museum in Chile that blends with a little fish a lot. Oh, I have heard of that. Uh. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why. I do remember that. I saw it on my Twitter account. I was like, Jesus Christ, alright. Museums suck. I mean, for the most part. I feel like I don't need to get in why museums suck. There's a lot of very, very, very good and eloquent and highly researched opinions on why museums can be good, but for the most part, don't necessarily showcase. I'm not gonna get into that. That's a completely different can of worms. What do you think about the Nintendo Switch, this stuff? Well, I don't have one. I don't have a Nintendo Switch. So, keep in mind, you're hearing the opinion of somebody who does not own one. I think the Nintendo Switch doesn't have enough games for me to get it. There are about 3 games that I would like, 2 games that I would like to play on the Switch, and that's not enough for me to buy one. So I don't really have a lot of opinions about the Switch. I've played on one several times. I feel like its build, for me personally, leaves a little bit to be desired. I don't like the way the Joy-Cons feel in my hands. They feel cheap and brittle and flimsy. But playing it all on it, like in one piece, playing games on it, it's solid. It's solid. My gripes with its physical build are very, very small. I just wish that it felt a little bit more sturdy. If that makes sense. Animal Crossing made me buy a Switch Lite. Oh. I might need to talk to you in a future stream piece being about a Switch Lite and what exactly that is for you. Because it did look cool. It did look cool. I like the idea of a cheaper Switch because $300 on a thing that maybe I would only want to play 1 or 2 games on is a lot of money. But I'm glad that you got one. Performance is art. Oh no, performance art is. Oh my god, I mixed up those words. Performance art is the idea of the show is more powerful than the show and performance to me, says Jesse, which is a take that I can actually fall in line with in a lot of cases, yeah. There's very little difference between a Switch Lite and a Switch. I kind of wish I got a Lite. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. I was waiting for a Switch Pro like an idiot. I was one of those people that was like, when they come out with a doper one, that's maybe what I want. But it didn't happen, so again, I'm Switchless. Most of the games that exist on Switch exist being the important on Switch. Also exist on, PlayStation and like in the PSN store, so I've not bought the Switch. Like I really, really like Overcooked. That game is like my bread and butter. I love that game. But I can play it on PlayStation. Hollow Knight and all these other indie games that are great also exist on PlayStation, so I just haven't bought a Switch. It's delayed my purchase. Considering how no one but Nintendo really uses the Joy-Cons as Nintendo was advertising. Oh, that's actually a good point. I didn't think about that. So you don't really have to take them off unless you're playing a lot of Nintendo games. I'm not on the development list for them, but from what I've seen, they are really difficult to make work well. I believe this. As somebody who's used them, it seems like they're pretty difficult to make work well. The Switch Lite is a solid choice. I got a Switch for $180 during Black Friday sale in 2018, which is the only reason I ended up buying it. That's a very good price. Russians don't like Nintendo, says Sevka. I'm not going to tell you my opinions on Nintendo, Sevka. Not in a public place like this. Maybe later. But, yes. I also have opinions about Nintendo. Some of them are great. Some of them are not great. A lot of the reason... no, not going to get into that here. But I'm sorry to hear that, Sevka. If you particularly have a Switch... If you have a Switch... Guys, what the heck? We stretched this one. We stretched this one a minute. Freaking 3 hours. I'm so sorry, Lindsay. I'm sorry. What is that from? You think you can cover your vocal process next production stream? I can do that in a day, but forewarning, it is wildly inconsistent. Because I have a different vocal process that I used on Daydream versus Lush Dream versus Quick Breath versus Ego Death, but I can go over all of them. They're not so different. Very, very, very slight moderations for sure. Or alterations, not moderations. Not all Switch games can be played on the Switch Lite, says Peas Bean. This is a very important distinction to make. I'd say only get a regular Switch if you prefer a large screen and have it projected on the TV. Also, you always apologize when it goes over 2 hours, but I think everyone's fine with it. No, we lost Liana. Maybe if I ended at a reasonable time, I wouldn't have lost Liana. I like to say once more, while we may disagree, our conversations are always enjoyable. Thanks for delving into these. I hope you take nothing I say. Oh, no, not at all, Gabriel. I appreciate you in the stream. I think the conversations and the topics are good. The conversations and the topics are good. It's rough. It's rough, I know, to have these difficult conversations. We did lose her. I don't care if she at work. We lost her. Sub says, do you know Morgenstern? Is a Russian rapper. I don't. I can prominently say I don't know any Russian musicians, actually. I don't. No, at least I don't think so. I could be shocked. Somebody could tell me somebody that I listen to is Russian. I just don't know that anyone is. Rough is much more fun for philosophical discussions than just blind agreement. I get that, Jesse, for sure. For sure. I could have just said, yes, art is objective, absolutely. But as somebody who makes objective art, it would have been a disservice, maybe, to me, and for a lot of the people in this stream that view art subjectively. And so, I'm like the elected ambassador for subjectivity and, like, free thought. Free thought! How much does my thought cost? I'll check out. Sevka says Lindsay about this Russian rapper. Listen, please. It's on Cadillac. Oh. Do they have Cadillacs in Russia? Is that an ignorant question? It is pretty ignorant, huh? Do they have Cadillacs in Russia? Probably. Do they, though? Or does Cadillac mean something in Russian? What does Cadillac mean? I actually don't even know what that word means. Like, the car Cadillac. Oh, it is the car. Okay. I guess it means nothing. No, it means something. Like, Alexis. Fascinating. I just meant, like, as a name what it meant. You know? Like how the name Omni means absolutely nothing. I was wondering if it... oh my god. Lindsay, how did you get that text? Okay, alright, guys. We're almost at 3. I'm at 3. I have 2 EPs or something like that out. One's called Quick Breath, the other one's called Ego Death. Please listen to these things if you ever get the chance. Also listen to Daydream. Because Lindsay made the time to listen to Daydream, and maybe it's because I don't talk about it enough. Guys, it's not just Quick Breath and Ego Death I got out. I got Nice Dream, I got Love Dream, I got Speed Dream, I got Signals, I got Tall Tales, I got Daydream, I got Lush Dream, I got Quick Breath, I got Ego Death. I got a lot of music. I even have a EP called House of Omni, which features some other very talented people who were staying with me at the time. Thank you for the blessings, Lindsay, Sevka, and Isaac. But yeah, go listen to these things. There's over 100 songs out, and they're decent. They're pretty decent. Don't worry about the meaning of them. Give them your own meaning. If my song Amnesia, if you want my song Amnesia to be about an amnesiac who actually has forgotten his former life, you know what? You're right. That's what it's about. I love Not On My Watch, says Sevka, which is a track off of Quick Breath. And Coliseum. Which is off of Lush Dream. You've got some range on you, Sevka. You've got some range. Isaac says Huddy Gloves Impact Piano. Softly, I suppose. Anyway, you can hear all those releases on Bandcamp. You can hear them on SoundCloud. You can hear them on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Group, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube, which we're on right now. I have not uploaded a new video since the last Quarantunes, so check that out if you haven't seen the Quarantunes. There are 8 of them. I worked very hard on them. They're all shot in my bedroom, for the most part. There's a brief hallway shot, but for the most part, they're shot in my bedroom. So thank you. If you have heard them, if you haven't, well, there's no time like the present. As far as shows, merch, and all that stuff, no news on that because we're in quarantine and the country seems to be getting worse by the moment. I actually very seriously this morning while I was lying awake, miserable, I thought to myself, I'm pretty sure I'm going to leave this country at some point. And it made me kind of sad. There's this weird thing that I won't get into too deep because we're literally gonna hit 3 hours. There's this really weird thing where you're looking at people and you in the country that's supposed to be also yours. It's supposed to be our country. You're looking at the people, to use an analogy, it's like being on a playground, you know, and it's like, hey, I'm on this playground too. I have just as much right to the basketball court as these hooligans and losers do. But they won't let you play. And you're like, well, this isn't fair. And you try to go get a teacher or something, but the teacher's also, like, kind of whack, and the teacher's like, nah, like, let the boys play. Boys will be boys, baby. And so at a certain point, it's like, it's not fair, and you shouldn't have to leave, but maybe, you know, it's more important to be healthy and happy than it is to be righteous. And that sucks that sometimes you have to choose between those two things. But yeah, as somebody who does tour regularly and goes to other countries, it's not like the rest of the world is some mystery to me. I've stayed in other countries for long periods of time, and I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Maybe I go somewhere. Maybe I go to Canada. Maybe I go to Asia or something. I'm very fortunate in that my job doesn't have an address, you know? If there's one thing about, like, freelance and entrepreneur life that is good, it's that you can kind of go wherever you want, and for the most part, your job is, you know, there with you. Speaking of places that I've been, when I went to Korea last year, was that last year? Yeah, that was last year. I wrote this song called Hush Hour, which there's a music video for up on my YouTube. Even if I go to a country where I know very little, I think I'd be okay. Yeah, right? upsetting. Beautiful. Yeah, that song only exists, I think, here on YouTube, actually. I mean, you could probably find a video of, like, a truncated version of it on, like, Twitter or something like that, but Hush Hour right now is a YouTube exclusive because this is where I live for my streams. I think my value, says Ube, could be better invested elsewhere, perhaps, as much as I love this place, right? Isn't that sad? It's home. This is home. I've spent all of my formative and deformative. I would love to add deformative years to the lexicon. Can we use that? I feel like deformative years are like that. After you formed, after you've gotten out of school and you have that crisis of like, oh no, what am I supposed to do? What am I good at? What are my passions? I think I'm a useless member of society. Are those deformative years? I spent all those here too. I think I'm still maybe in them a little bit. I feel a sense of guilt for abandoning the South in America, but yeah. Oh, Lindsay. Oh, what? Lindsay, I had that for Arizona. Arizona's a really awful place, and I felt like a sense of like I abandoned it when I left there. I mean, I had a lot of other friends and musicians who were also unhappy there, but were trying to make something of it, try to make the place better. And at a certain point, I was like, I don't think we're going to make it better. I think I'm just going to dip. I don't have the time and energy to just pour my life into this stupid place. And I'm starting to feel that way about the entire country at this point. Yeah. Oh my God. Taking my words right out of my mouth. Yeah, being part of the solution. It's like, no, we got to build it. I remember being in Arizona and everybody was like, the music scene sucks here, but we're talented. We can like build it up and make it something cool. And I was like, I don't think I want to pour like 8+ years of my life into this trash desert trying to make it cool. I'm looking at people that are like far older than me. I'm looking at people in their 40s that were trying to make it cool 20 years ago. And I'm like, I don't want to be him. I'm just going to go where it's like cool. And so I moved. Sevka says they like all people white and black. We love Sevka here. White and black. That's it, baby. If it was just white and black, thought experiment. If it was just white and black, there are a lot of like weird middle of the road, I don't know what they are type things. If I'm just saying people of color are all black and then people absent of color are all white, there are some white people that I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I see Jewish people and I'm like, I'm not saying they're black, but I don't know. I love girls, says Sevka. Oh, Sevka, me too. Sevka, we're the same person. Oh, man. I don't know. I dated, I'm not going to get in my dating history, but I dated one Jewish person, and I don't know. Time to cancel, says girl. I want this as like the thumbnail of me like looking scared, and then like the subtitle being like Omni says Jewish people aren't white. Nova says I'm mixed with black and no one can tell. That's a rarity. That's very rare. Usually when people are mixed with black, they just are now black. I guess CC logic on that. I mean, and Drake, I guess. And Drake's kid. That looks like Logic. I mean, and Barack Obama, I guess. I don't know. I have a girlfriend, says Sevka. We are not the same then. Okay. Well, that was fun while it lasted. Now you've made me sad, Sevka. Cyber says Eric Andre is black and Jewish. Oh, so is Drake. But... oh, crap. I don't think Jewish people are white. Okay, is it rare, says Lindsay? I've met so many people who are white passing who aren't white. I have too, but it's never that they're mixed with black. It's It's usually like they're white and Asian or something, and they kind of just look white. Usually when people are white and black, it's like the black goes to work on that hair. He calls himself Jewish. Yes, yes, he does. Is that why Jewish people are nice to me? Is that why they're always so chill with me? Is that what it is? I know there's anti-blackness in the Jewish community as well, but sorry, Jewish people everywhere. I mean, Jewish people are white, I suppose. I mean, Seth Rogen, right? I see him as white. There's just some people. My ex is one of those people that I look at and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about this one. I don't know. It's like for a really long time I thought of like anybody who spoke Spanish as being black adjacent, and then I like saw a Spanish person. I was like, that person's white. Spanish people look white, but I had grown up with Mexican people the whole time and didn't really understand that they were different. Ooh, ignorance. How many Jewish people do you know personally? Me? Oh my God, let's not do that. How many? I don't like where this conversation is going, because there's a lot of people that I definitely know that if I did a poll, they'd be like, yeah, I'm Jewish. And I'm like, oh, I had no idea. But there are some people that, you know, we all just know are Jewish because they talk about it all the time or because of, you know, features. And I would say that I know 10-ish. Ooh, I don't like this conversation now. Now it got weird. Oh man, oh no, man. Okay, Sevka says, in Russia, we have a lot of black people. And my grandmother said to me, I must respect all the people. Oh my God, really? Is she still alive? She sounds amazing. Maybe I'm moving to Russia, huh? Maybe not your small town. You live in a small town, yeah. I'm a big city boy. I need to be in the city. All the glitz and glamour. That's really cool, though. I'm glad that you have such a dope grandma. Now we've just gotten to small talk stream now. But I also had a very dope grandma that was very accepting of... That's weird. I think that some of that is old age. I think that maybe when you get older, sometimes you're just like, you know what, whatever. Everybody do their thing. She was very, very accepting of a lot of weird things that even I would do. Let's all move to Moscow, says Cyber. Yeah. Anywho, yeah. There's more races than white and black, but I'm glad that you like all of them. So good. That's really cool. You're very rare. I love to see kids. I don't know how old you are. I know you're younger than me. I like to see younger people with good guidance. People are like giving them, you know, the good lessons. I feel like the kids in my cul-de-sac are that way. They're very nice to me. I think if I weren't me, I would be afraid of me, by the way. If I was a kid and I lived in somewhere in like the vicinity of a me, I want to say I would be afraid of me. I think that I'm like weird or something. Like, I don't like talk a lot. And like, I don't know. Anyways, I don't want to try to describe myself from a third person. But I'm like taller, kind of quiet, eerie. Anywho. Yeah, we have objectives we understand. Is Gabriel still in here? Gabriel, where you at? Does Gabriel leave? Wherever Gabriel is, I appreciate you, Gabriel. Oh, I already played this. But I have to replay it because... I like dollar, says Sevka. Oh, now we're back to being the same person. I'm also a fan of the dollar. I think even as a kid, I think you were approachable. Is this Hush? This is Hush Crow. That's interesting. do a whole round about people's perception of approachable, intimidating, but please let's do that next stream. Oh my god, please let's do that next stream. Let us have a lighthearted. Oh, Adrelix. Oh, Adrelix, I missed you here. It's horrible. It's horrible. Somehow I laid out worse when you left. You're gone, aren't you? You're gone. I shaved though. Adrelix, I shaved. I'm still depressed, but my face is smooth, so that's cool. I had this really nervous habit of pulling out. Oh, this is gross, but I would like pick at my beard and like actually pull the hairs out. Morning. Barely. Yeah, I would like pull the hairs out like some kind of weird ne'er-do-well, and now it's not there, so I just keep like reaching up and not knowing what to do when I'm upset. Anyways, thanks to Drillix for making the time to come into the very end of what was a 3-hour stream. I appreciate you more than you know, and I miss you here, and I talk about you every day to my roommate and whoever will listen, because I'm sad. Sevka says, in Russia, I have a lot of haters and friends. Well, love to your friends, Sevka. And you know what? Let's hope that your haters, they find the righteous path, and they educate themselves on how cool you are. I don't know. I think you're pretty cool. I'll make sure to bring up that topic tomorrow. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Lindsay. Also, thank you, Lindsay, for watching When a Wolf Falls. And also thank you for listening to my very, very long diatribe on why I like that movie. I appreciate you. Thank you, anybody, for line messaging me. I know I don't answer all the time. For your benefit, not for my benefit, because I will talk for a while. But I know I don't answer all the time, but it is very nice. I love Line, and I only update that timeline now at this point, so I more exist on there than I do here on YouTube. Adrielix says, hello everyone, I miss you very much, and think about you every day too. I hope your stream went okay. I'll probably replay it. Thanks, Adrielix. They start at 9 a.m., just for future reference, if you ever want to come in another one. But yeah, thanks for coming into this, and I appreciate you a lot. So much. How much better text this, guys? Says Sevka. I love the way Sevka spells guys. And we will never correct it, because it's good. It was a Daily Motion under Asian Crush's account. I guess annoying. It was on Daily Motion. Oh, okay, word up, Lindsay. It's all over the place. Okay, Sevka. Okay, everybody. I've squeezed all the juice dry of this lemon. Thank you guys for being respectful to me and polite to each other. I really do. Oh, God. Tapping over to Discord to make sure I'm not in trouble. And I'm not in trouble. And in fact, people are happy with me. Marvelous. Guys, I have a good feeling about today. Anyways, bye everybody. Thank you for being respectful to me and polite to each other. I won't be on social media that much today, but I will be online, so you can message me if there's any emergency. You have a Discord server, says Peacebean? I do not, but I'm in a Discord server for like some work that I have had to do. And I kind of do this thing, Peacebean, where I will work until about 2 a.m. and I'll send a bunch of the finished projects to people. I will go to sleep, but then I'll usually wake up and I'm just kind of waiting for, you know, criticism. But they seem to be very happy with what I did, so that is, you know, some weight off of my shoulders. Thank you again for being respectful to me and polite to each other. I will see you guys here tomorrow at 9 a.m. for Morning Medley number 173. One more closer to this Friday's production stream on 175. Please take care of your guys' selves. I'll see you soon. Abo.